Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this Blitz chess postmortem, a postmortem of my Blitz game number 381. I was white here. Kicked off with d4 and my opponent played the somewhat rare move knight c6. So this could lead in a bunch of different directions. One reply here would be c4. You see it's not the top choice. e4, which I played, is the top choice. Knight f3 is an interesting alternative. Maybe I should consider that. Or just d5, kicking the knight immediately. But c4, I talked about this in the video. If he plays d5, this is now the Chigorin defense to the Queen's Gambit. Although it turns out I looked up my record against this opponent, and he always plays e5 here. Or in the last game I had a record of, he played e5 when I tried that. Pretty interesting. So this is like going into the Hungarian or the Budapest Gambit. If I take, it's like going into the Budapest Gambit, except he gets to take here before I've developed my knight. Interesting. So it's best to push to d5 and knight ce7, kind of similar to the game. Very funny. Anyway, the way I played it in this game, after d4 he played knight c6, I played e4. And now this is the Nimzowitsch defense. The Nimzowitsch defense technically is e4, knight c6, and then usually the follow-up is d4. But just a different move order to get to the same position. And now Nimzowitsch used to play d5 here. But Tony Miles, I looked this up on Wikipedia, Tony Miles liked to play this position with the move e5, and that's also what my opponent here likes to play. He plays e5. So this knight c6 and e5 seems to be kind of a standard motif. Now, look at how many games there are here. There's only 50 games, and if we move forward one step, after knight f3, there's 1,500 games in the database. So what's happened is that after knight f3, we've transposed into the Scotch opening. So there's a way for Black to get into the Scotch if he wants to. Now, I don't play the Scotch as white, so I wouldn't really know what to do here, but maybe I should learn to play the Scotch, and then I would have a good idea. But so I keep it in unique lines and play d5, which I guess is an okay move. But this is kind of what Black is looking for. He's looking for me to build up a big center here and then undermine it. And let's see, I seem to go off track right away here with this move f4, although I thought f4 was kind of interesting. So the top engine move here is c4, just building up the big center and trying to hold on to it. The engine has some suggestions here, bishop d3, and just a nice normal developing move. Guess this protecting the e-pawn against some attack. I guess, yeah, knight f6 will come with an attack on the e-pawn, so you're preparing for that. Bishop d3, and it also allows the c-pawn to move, so knight c3 blocks the c-pawn, also defends, but blocks the c-pawn. But anyway, bishop d3, knight f3, knight c3, knight e2. So it doesn't really approve of the move I played, f4. But it's not a horrible move. We're just out of the opening book. And after he takes, I take back with the bishop. That was my idea. And we see it's about an even. So an even position. So I've given up whatever chance I had of an opening advantage. I really needed to play one of those other moves here. So hopefully I will remember that next time I face this opening. The problem with these obscure openings is you don't see them often enough to really memorize the replies so easily. Okay, so he just goes knight g6, very logical move, kicking my bishop. I drop back here to g3. I want to protect this diagonal, because otherwise he has the idea of the queen coming out here with the check and picking up the undefended e-pawn. And now I have a bit of a problem of defending the e-pawn. So yeah, Black has completely equalized the way I've played this. He goes bishop c5, and I go knight f3, knight f6. There are some interesting tactical opportunities coming up in a bit, but for now we're just developing. Let's see, it didn't really like my knight bd2, so yeah, it prefers knight c3. I still had the idea of maybe developing my pawn to c4 to support the center, but so that's why I played here. But I guess this just isn't quite as good. Anyway, he goes on with d6, bishop e2. Sorry, my turn. Bishop e2. I'm just developing castles. So It's interesting. Now the computer really starts to like black's position. I guess black has easy pressure against the e-pawn. I've wasted a move with bishop e2. The bishop really belongs on d3, so that was definitely a mistake there. And black is looking pretty good here. And also it's difficult for me to castle. I'm going to have to give up my dark squared bishop in order to castle. So I play this right away, bishop f2. And the problem is there's just a tactic here that both of us missed during the game. So let's check this out. After bishop takes, king takes. You know, I thought I would just bring my rook over here and move my king to g1, sort of castle by hand. He plays knight g4 check. And now I have to move my king back. And I blocked in my rook, so that's one problem. And then knight to e3. The knight can drop into this undefended e3 square and harass my queen. So the queen runs over to b1 and then f5. And okay, so black has not won any material, but it looks like he just has a dominating position. He's got his queen and his bishop and his rook all poised to jump in on my king, and my pieces have been chased away from my king, and my rook is locked in the corner. So with even material, the chess engine is still giving this an advantage of almost a piece to black. So an interesting way to play. Anyway, my opponent played knight f4 with also with an advantage. I mean, similar kind of ideas. He's just kind of swarming around my my king side here, but it does at least give me a chance to castle and get my rook into play. Cancel that. Didn't I castle here? Yeah, I castled. Okay. Just dropped the rook in the wrong place. Now he takes. I take back, and knight g4 again, hitting the knight and going into hitting the rook and going into e3 is a way to win material. Knight g4, the rook has to drop back to f1, and then e3. This unprotected square in the heart of my camp here forks the queen and rook. So he could have had a quick kill in the opening right here. He didn't play this. He played rook e8, which is a very logical move, but you know, it's nice to stay alert to these tactical possibilities. This is the kind of move you can spot during a blitz game, I think. You know, just look for those moves that make threats, right? This knight g4 move is a forcing move. It forced me to move the rook, and then you have to notice it can go to e3 from there. Okay, enough on that. Clearly, rook e8 is still keeping the advantage. I now have to defend, and still knight g4. It's a good move here. He plays bishop g4, getting another piece into the attack. Bring my queen over, queen e7, more pressure on the e-file, and rook e1. So, well, his advantage isn't quite as large as it was before, but still black has the edge, and he's pushing. Oh, he plays a6 here. I'm not sure what this is about. Maybe he's planning to play b5. He does play b5 later. It does restrict my bishop, but the bishop is not really going anywhere. I go knight h4, trying to get some pressure here. And he should, let's see, how should he play this? Yeah, he can win a pawn here with knight takes d5. Yeah, I was a little bit worried about this. He tempo move with the knight, hitting my undefended knight here. So, so knight h4 is a bad move. He took on d3, and I took back. And he can still take on d5 here. He went knight d7. Yeah, I thought, oh, you know what I was thinking? I wasn't thinking about knight d5. I was thinking about knight e4 during the game when I did my calculations. If knight e4 and we exchange out and he tries to win a pawn with queen takes e4 at the end, then I can take on f7. Yeah, I have some counter pressure on f7. But if he just takes on, well, let's play this out. If he takes on d5, doesn't this still apply? New variation. Say I just grab the knight. Queen takes e1. Okay, queen takes h4 is good as well, but queen takes e1 is even stronger. Yeah, okay, the rook is under-defended there. So, okay, so knight takes d5 is doubly good. Okay, he played knight d7, I go knight f5, hitting his queen, and he takes the knight off. And we've gotten back into a position where things are about even. So he advances his pawns, and I bring my pieces forward, trying to get something going on the king side. And I advanced the rook the knight the wrong way. It looks like knight d4 is a way to get into this position. I guess eyeing this square here, the c6 square. It's an interesting home for the knight. So knight d4 is a better move than what I played. I was focused more on the king side, played knight g5, but there's no great follow-up here. He just kicks it. And I should just go back to f3 and reroute, but I was trying to keep it on the king side here. Rook a to c8 he plays. Queen f3. And the problem is my king side plans are just not going anywhere. I wasn't too worried about this. I was thinking I could just take it and leave him with this backwards d pawn that might be a target. But, you know, he can defend that pretty easily, so I've never get much traction against that. And so the advantage is shifted back to black at this point. Rook to c2. Yeah, he gets to invade with his rook. Didn't really account for this. So now I can't block. I originally thought I could just play my rook up here. But, you know, he can check me. That's kind of annoying. Rook to b1 I played. Queen to g3 is recommended. Yeah, I guess once I have committed to the king side, I should probably continue. Queen g3, setting up some threats. And if he grabs the pawn, is there an immediate way to break through? Rook takes f6. Yeah, okay, there is a threat. So queen g3 is a good move. I played rook b1, defending the pawn. Yeah, I didn't find that queen g3 move. And now he comes in with the queen a7 check, hitting the king on the long diagonal. I block with knight f2. Yeah, it looks like that was okay, but black is just better here. He's got, you know, the more aggressively posted pieces. And he's got the initiative. Queen d4, queen creeping in and putting pressure on my position here. So I decided kind of a drastic solution to sack the exchange here. So if you look at the evaluation, yeah, it's slightly worse. It's not the best move in the position, but it's not as horrible as it may look. I mean, I get something out of it, in that I get to mess up his pawns a bit, and it gives me something to play against. But he keeps the edge from here on out, really. He's up the exchange. His pawns are a bit messed up, but enough force has gone off the board that it can't really do much against it. Let's see. So let's go through the rest of the moves. He plays this well. He just keeps his edge, keeps his pieces active. He makes his rooks, keeping your rooks active in the endgame and gobbling up pawns. They're just better at that than a knight. The knight is a clumsy piece that takes a while to hop around from one side to the board to the other. You just have to be careful to watch out for knight forks and things like that, and you'll be okay. So I am protecting against the mate with the knight. The knight finally found a good home here. So I was feeling a little better about my position here, but just materially I'm down too much at this point. And then, yeah, the game was over here. I thought, as a hallucination, I thought I could check the king here and pick up another pawn. I was even a little bit optimistic, but I overlooked the fact that I was hanging the knight there. And that's how the game ended. So anyway, hopefully the next time I face this opening, I'll know a little more about what to do. Leave any comments you have in the section below, and I will see you again soon. Bye.